Hello, Paul Piper here in the studio. Welcome to Podcast 2023, where we make your viewing excitable if you choose to. That was supposed to be stupid, by the way. Anyway, we got to make it fun, right? And so I have a very special guest in the house with me tonight, Stephanie Nadolny. And if you wait 1 second, I'm going to see if I can get all this technology working properly. And welcome. Now we're on split screen. Hey, hello there.
Hey, everybody. How is it going today?
So we're just going to go through a couple things here today and basically how we met.
Yeah.
You know,
Back to the
it's
good
been,
old...
what, 2 decades, right?
2 decades next month. It's our friendship anniversary, or our Frenchery, or whatever they call that.
Frenchery?
Frenchery. Whatever.
And
we're American. We ain't even French. Frenchery.
Wait, hold on. We got to have a...
There we go. The laugh tracks.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We won't quit our day jobs. You're going to hear a lot of silliness today.
So today is about antics and information. Is that we should name it Antics and Information, right?
Yeah, that could be your in parentheses name of the show.
Antics and Information. Hold on, let me make a note of that.
You're gonna get it. A lot of ups and downs, ins and outs, and some really silly humor. Don't worry, it is rated G. We are silly. We come complete with lots and lots of dad jokes.
Yeah.
We have a lot of inside jokes too.
Yeah.
I have a lot of pictures on
jokes?
my phone and my computer, and that with your face in the background. Paul Piper is the.
I know, right?
You could be a professional photo bomber. He is the best at it. I'm telling you, if he sees a camera, I think you see it even quicker than I do. And I see cameras quickly from being in show business. But
wherever you may be standing, taking a picture, beware.
Oh, I know.
Something might
beware.
Come around the back.
If Paul is in the room or in the vicinity, you never know.
Can I get a Brunska on that? I don't know if I have that.
But as a drummer, he's got his drums right here. But
here's what we should do, right? Okay.
There we go.
Much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Close enough. We'll take it.
What we don't want to do is make things stupid.
Right.
Well, wait, no, that would be entertaining.
I don't know.
If we make it stupid, it'll be entertaining, right?
Yeah, because we're not serious people. We're serious about what we do, and we're serious about music and creating content, but we're not serious about joking around.
No, hey, we make it fun. So
we do.
So Stephanie, I'm going to ask you when we first met, I think it was at a place called Sapango. Remember that place?
I do. Back in the day, 2003, people.
Yeah, and we were working with a band called the Project Band, right?
The Project.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the band is still going strong.
Yes, it is.
They're a company called Absolute Entertainment, so we're still doing a lot of work out of there, and
good to hear.
A lot of good things going on. But so why don't you explain a little bit about your journey?
Mm-hmm.
You know, a little bit about how you got started in the industry, both with your singing and voiceovers and stuff like that, and you know, basically just how it all happened.
We'll just dive right in. The water's fine. So I'll go back a little further, and then I'll merge everything together as far as how Paul Piper and I met and how that all falls together. I've been a singer my whole life. I knew at a very young age, my first memories of hoping that I could go into music as a career. I thankfully had my parents were young parents. They got married very young, and they're both the oldest of 4. So I come from a big family. We all started out in Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, thank you very much. And we'll talk about that later too, Elvis. There's a tie there too. But so my mom and dad were both, music lovers, and I got immersed in music just because I loved it so much. Anytime I had free time, I would be listening to music. I would be singing along. My dad had a great stereo for the times. It was the 70s, and he had these little microphones that he'd plug in, and me and my brother would sing and make. I don't know. I was actually starting to do funny voices even at the age of 3, and I remember mimicking my brother, mimicking my friends, and my trying to sound like them. I don't know. I had an ear for that, and thankfully I was able to utilize that in what I do all the time now. So I was singing and at that age, and I remember getting in trouble because it was time for bed and I was like not ready to give the microphone up. So there was a lot of whining and crying over that, which I was practicing, people. And so yeah, those are my first memories. And I knew at that age that I was going to at least try to be a singer. I knew I wanted to be involved in music and using the voice. And so as I grew up, I just got involved in anything and everything involving that, whether it be choir, singing in church. I learned a lot about harmonies before I even knew what harmony was. Before I knew the vocabulary, I was immersed in it. And you know how kids, I mean, you teach, and you raise two kids, you know how kids even at a very young age can really respond to music and have a relationship with music before you can even speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's even classes I taught for a while where they brought babies in, and everybody in my class was under 3, and we were learning, to play instruments and stuff. So anyway, I knew at a young age, and thankfully I was able to pursue that through anything from musical theater, community theater, plays, musicals. My goodness, there was this Shakespearean theater that I was involved in, a children's theater in Oklahoma. We moved every year and a half, 2 years, so I was constantly on the move. That was tough growing up. That was real tough because it's hard to fit in when you're the new kid. You're either kind of embraced or kind of not embraced. It's like right when I'd start to they get used to me, it'd be time to move again. But anytime there was auditions, like drama,
right,
choir, show choir, whatever. I even did some talent shows, I remember having to get over my stage fright. I had some stage fright at like age 10 and 11, and I had a hard time with that. But if I was going to be in this industry and I was going to be a live performer, I had to get over it. So I did, thankfully. I'm definitely more comfortable singing and performing on a stage than speaking. It's not that I can't do it, but I'm definitely more comfortable putting on a show. And I also liked comedy. I liked improv, so I got involved in some improv. I would play with my friends on a cassette player. Once I discovered cassette, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I remember carrying around a little cassette player at age 7 and 8 and recording anything from my piano music to my songs to my poems to my silly voices. And so I was practicing this voice acting thing and singing long before I ever had a career with it. So I think it had played a big part into what I'm doing now. And then as the years went by, I ended up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the end of my junior year. I had to move again, and did drill team and pom-pom and danced, and I just tried to make the best of it, and that was my escape. That was my healthy escape, was music, was performance. We all have something, right? We all geek out or dweeb out about something, and that was what I dweebed out about.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
I mean, we worked with a lot of different bands together. If I remember, we did.
I can't even count them.
We'll see the Project Band. And
Motion.
I know that you and I were working with Vince Vance a little bit.
At different times.
Different times, but
yeah.
What
I was about to go into that. Vince Vance was the next thing.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, went to UNT in Denton. I thought I'd major in vocal performance, but since I'd had so much experience with that, I thought I'd try acting. The only thing I had real experience with was serious acting. But honestly, that's okay. It worked out because that's not what I'm best at. I had a lot of theater experience, but I was just naturally better at the musicals. So when I tried out for the serious plays, I kind of get the background parts, which is fine. It's all experience. But I was just naturally better at the musicals and the singing and dancing and acting and kind of the Broadway, kind of New York stuff. But I didn't want to move again.
Right.
So as an adult, I'm like, I've moved 9 times before I was 16. I'm like, I'm not moving. So I didn't go to New York. I didn't go to LA. I thought about going to Nashville, being that I had kind of a country music, Southern, I don't know, I could definitely mimic that Southern twang.
All different styles, especially when you're talking about like all the serious plays.
Oh, right.
You ever heard of all the different versions of Hamlet? It's just it's really cool. Like the Italian version.
Yeah.
To be or what?
Oh, I like that. To be or what? Forget about it, Paul. Paul. I'm going to start calling you Paulie.
What about the Nashville version? Or was it? No, I think it was the redneck version.
Redneck.
Sorry. Hey, we're all having fun, right? We all had this.
No offense from Nashville people.
I think it goes to be or not to be. That is the question.
Oh,
Whether
I like
it
that.
Be, I forget the rest.
Well, and you might be a redneck if you've got a toothpick in your wedding picture.
Or what was the Jeff Foxworthy line? If you mow your lawn and find a car.
Oh, that can happen.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got back from Arkansas, you guys, and let me tell you.
A lot of funny, kooky stuff like, or when you have to go air up the left side of your mother's house.
Oh my gosh, that's
The
great.
tire. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Nice.
Was that a laugh track?
I told you there would be.
No. Kids, do y'all want to hear a joke?
Yay! Kid voices.
All right, we must go to Joke Corner, and what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little version of stupid stuff.
Cool. Dad jokes?
Let's do a
Mom
dad
jokes?
joke. The dad joke of the day is.
Oh,
and
I love it.
I just opened it up, so let's see what
I
happens.
love that you have a dad joke like calendar.
Yeah.
I love that. Like you need one, Paul. He's got a lot of his own.
Kids,
Trust
you
me.
want to hear something funny? Okay. I didn't want to make paper airplanes with my daughter, but she was so insistent that I eventually folded.
I love it. Have you heard of the knock knock joke? They don't do them any. You know the person that invented knock knock jokes.
What happened?
She won the Nobel Prize. Nobel.
Oh, Nobel
Knock,
Prize.
knock.
I was telling knock knock jokes to these kids at my last event, and they had
Was that a
no
laugh?
idea what I was talking. Their dads and
kidding.
moms did. Tell them about the knock knock jokes.
The knock knock jokes. Or what about the
What about Bob?
what about Bob?
What
Yes.
about Bob?
The guy that wrote the song, you put your left foot in, put your right foot out.
I love
did
this
I hear that
one.
wrong? When they went to the
Funeral.
you only could put one left foot in, one right foot out.
That's how he got him in. That's how they got him into the casket, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And what if the hokey pokey is what it's all about? All this life that we've been living, and that is really what it's all about, is the hokey
Yeah.
pokey.
Yeah, who knows, right?
If it were only that simple. No, life's complicated, people.
Okay, so we worked with different bands. We worked
did.
with the Project Band, and
That was 2003,
yeah.
and I had been with Vince Vance and gone back and forth a couple times, but that's when I'm trying to think of who I met that got that whole thing rolling. I want to say, I was with Bulletproof Brass. That's where it happened, because I joined a show band in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that's when I met Steve, who knew the guitar player, Shrog.
Oh, yeah.
I think, because that's how I think he came out to one of the shows because we were always performing at Memphis. If you guys are in the Dallas Fort Worth area, you know the Memphis Club. They have
Right.
bands every night. They have for over 30 years. It's amazing. It's a great venue. It's a great place to showcase your talent for potential private parties and weddings. And I remember coming out there because I was being considered to possibly be a vocalist to be added in or replacing someone. I'm not real sure how that happened, but I did show up at Memphis and I did sit in. And the next thing I remember, I was at the rehearsal with the band to just kind of like the butt sniffing thing. I say butt sniffing, that sounds terrible. You know when you take your dog to the dog park, there's that whole butt sniffing thing. That's kind of what people do, but we
I
don't
thought-
really physically.
I
Well,
didn't-
I'm no longer allowed at Target. That's all I know.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
just
'cause I went to a dog park.
You
once,
actually
and
went
there
to-
there was no dogs. It was humans doing it. I don't know what was going on. I
Oh,
thought I
see?
was I in a
A lot of
Twilight
people
Zone or something?
take after
There's-
their dogs. I have a dog. Anyone have a dog? You have dogs?
Yeah,
I know you've
yeah,
had dogs.
Yeah, 3, and we're surprised we can't hear them right now. So
Okay, well we've got this. We're in the soundproof
sound room.
booth room. I say it's a booth because with voice acting we are in a booth like this but smaller.
So
we'll
I
get
gotta
into
tell
that
you,
later.
I got to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
About all of this here. So everything you see on the wall was given to me from Absolute Entertainment. They were moving from
I love it.
from one warehouse to another.
Okay,
And
perfect
I get
decor.
a text, and they said, just take all the soundproof off our studio wall. We're not going to use it anymore.
Oh, I love that.
And I think they were going to get a whole new format.
Right?
So me and a buddy of mine, I went over there we got a ladder and some tools and some drills, and we just took everything we
it's
could reach.
Reusable.
And
that's nice. That's smart.
They've been in rolls in our storage unit from the time that we were moving from Mesquite to Wiley.
Oh, okay.
And since we moved in here,
You're able
the way-
to utilize it.
yeah, everything I have set up in here is
I
pretty.
love it.
You know, and there is a window, if you can't tell, but there is a window behind me, but we have double soundproofing in there, plus another soundproof layer over that. So
Yeah.
Michelle's going to hate me saying this, but I had her come in here and play the drums as loud as she could so I could go outside and hear.
Yeah.
And I
Just-
think the decibels were like cut really good. All you could hear
love
was like
that.
a thump here and there.
Well, thankfully,
Yeah.
being that you're in a home, you can
Yeah.
you can get away with a little more than you couldn't get away with this in an apartment
No,
or
no.
townhome or I mean
And maybe temporary. We're waiting to see some things here. Hopefully, we'll
If
get
you
into
if
a
you
new
move
location.
again, you get one that could be like a more of a permanent place, right?
Yeah, it'll be a self-contained building, and at that point, I'll probably
that'd
have
be
a control
great.
room where I can hire an
Engineer.
to come in and
PRP Productions is expanding.
Yes,
So be on the lookout, guys.
Yeah, if you remember from day one, PRP was started with a laptop computer and a keyboard.
Yeah.
And I had this idea, and let me tell you my motivation. The motivation that geared me towards getting all this going on is because of the pandemic. 2021?
Down
And
20.
20, yeah. See,
It seems.
time flies.
I know. Time flies when you're in a coma. Ready?
I
Laugh
know.
track. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
There you go. Delayed reaction.
Delayed reaction.
That's okay.
So, if you remember when they were closing all the venues and
Yes,
some of the
locking
bands
it
couldn't
down.
work anymore.
I
and
remember
we were
it
stuck
very
at
well.
home, and I came up with this idea. I says, you know what? If y'all going to take that from me, I'll take it from you. So they offered this little thing through the unemployment. You remember that? I said, I really don't want this, but
Yeah.
you know, if y'all take the gigs away, I'll take it.
Because
So-
it's like we had no way to work. We had
no
to
way to
cancel.
work.
I can't even count how many gigs we had to cancel that year, and even partly into 21.
Right.
It was sad. It was
Yeah.
hard. It was hard for everybody in different ways.
It was, yeah.
For musicians, live performance, when we deal with face-to-face entertainment and interactions, it was very, very tough.
Right.
I know about you. I know you know this. Being a musician as well, we are self-employed. There's no benefits that come. Like there's no 401k. There's
Yeah.
no health insurance benefits. There's self-employed people. I mean, I know there's probably more now than they were when we first
Right.
got started, but it was a very difficult thing. So we have to save and make gig money last sometimes a long period of time in between gigs. So I know we can definitely relate on that level. And you and I are probably, without bragging, it's not a bragging thing. We have some work ethic, guys. Me and you, I think, are two, and there's many of the hardest working musicians / self-employed musicians in the area. I mean, I just watch you online, and I know Paul personally. He, like I said, he's like I call you my big brother, and my brother's name is Paul, but this isn't my real brother Paul. He's my musician drummer. Everybody's favorite drummer is Paul Piper.
So I call her sis, and she calls me big bro, right?
Yes.
Or bro.
And we were the youngest. We were like the kid brother and sister of some of our bands, if you remember, especially the High Rollers at the Windstar. And we'll go into that more later.
Yeah.
But we were. It's kind of nice if everybody around you's older. You always look and sound like you're younger than everybody else. There's a benefit there. But now that we're getting older, there's more and more people that are younger than us. But
well, hopefully
anyway.
We don't want to. Age is just a number, right?
It is just a
it's how we
number,
feel here.
and that's what Paul and I have in common is we are very silly, very youthful, young at heart people. We happen to share a love for music, a passion for performing live performance, and we go out there and we hit the pavement every morning, and we work hard, and we're all over the place. I was waiting for this moment, to be honest, working hard to where people are calling now. The phone's ringing. Like there was a time when it's like, well, the phone's not going to ring. You got to get up and hit it. So that's a message to all of you guys who, whatever profession you're going into, your hard work will pay off eventually. Whether you're getting experience, you're making contacts, you're all over in the industry. Like I said, always carry your business cards. The internet is right there, so get a website going, get out there and work on what you want to do. I mean, we started as kids. I mean, I'm sure you have a family full of musicians. Your brother's an amazing keyboard player, one of the best in the entire I've ever worked with. And so, what my message is an encouraging one to those who want to go into, say, music or voice acting or show business of any kind. It's just you got to stick through it. You're going to get a lot of no's, you get a lot of rejection, and sometimes you'll even be replaced for who knows why. But don't let that get you down, because it can. You don't take it personally, because there's.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
One of the things that my old drum teacher used to tell me is, he said, "You want your phone to ring more?" I said, "Sure do. I sure do." He says, "You need to learn every drum style you can and get good at each one."
All of them.
Yeah, all the drum styles, and that's what I also share with my students as well. Versatility.
And consistency.
Yeah.
If you can be consistent, I mean, say for a drummer, you not only have to know the craft, you have to keep time, and you're the whole band. Depending on who you work with, is depending on the drummer and the rhythm section to
of course
drive the beat, the tempo, the pace. I mean, you're the king of it. So,
Yeah.
knowing the ins and outs of everything you want to do is only going to benefit you. Now, some people say, "Oh, focus on your niche or what you're best at." Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But take what you are best at and what you want to do, and then learn even more about it.
Absolutely right. Like some weeks I'll do a jazz gig. Sometimes that same week I'll do a jazz gig, a country gig, a pop gig.
And possibly a tribute band gig.
Tribute band
so
deal.
Knowing the cover material as well as original material.
Like last night I worked out at Nate's in Addison. We did mostly blues stuff. And here I am tomorrow night. I'm at the Kessler Theater with Michael Martin Murphey. So we're doing all country stuff.
Yep. And you've been working with him quite a bit
when
he goes on
7
tour.
years now.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Almost 7 years now.
But it keeps it fun and interesting because it's like, what am I doing? It's like you look at, I don't know about you, I look at my calendar and I kind of take one day at a time, but then I look out to the next week and then the next month. It's like where am I going to sign next? A comic book store, a pop culture convention? Am I going to be singing with my band Moonglass? Like, so I think it's really cool that we finally got to that point where we feel like, especially coming out of the pandemic, that we feel a little more secure, whether it be emotionally, financially, and professionally, because we do have our contacts. We've kind of made a name for ourselves, and now it's kind of like sticking with it and not messing it up, and
just never give up. Just keep going.
Keep the communication going.
And Michelle and I, we've become real good friends of Michael Martin Murphy and his wife
family.
Cindy. To the fact that sometimes when we're not touring, they'll invite us over at their ranch.
I love that.
For lunch and dinner, and we hang out and we just talk. We don't even really talk about music. We just hang out.
I've been finding that's been the benefit of getting out with these people behind the scenes, because I hang out with people at these comic stores and I get to know them, and we all go out to eat, like you said. Like,
absolutely right.
There's that added benefit if you happen to be a people person, which I know we are. I like to be involved in their families and behind the scenes if there's time to do so, and that's like a plus. To really. And Dan and I, we'll talk about that too. Dan Bradford is my business partner, best friend. We've also known each other almost 20 years next month. And now we are together as a couple, and we've been building a life. We've got fur babies. No kids to speak of, unfortunately. We're kids ourselves, like we talked about. So, and Paul, actually Dan Bradford knows Paul and has known Paul long before I even met you.
You want me
guys.
to give them an impression of Dan Bradford?
Oh, what is it?
Here we go. Hold on.
Can they see you?
Whatever do you mean?
Oh, that is so Dan. He's so
sorry, Dan.
He's so I want to say opposite, because he's not opposite of me, but he's a really good buffer. Like he's moving more into a business manager position with me, which we've already been doing naturally. That's just kind of been happening naturally. Like he's really good with certain things, and I'm good with the others. So we he's my puzzle piece, and so that's been really exciting for us to build that part of our relationship together, and being best friends and having that foundation for so many years, and sharing the stage and touring. And I mean, I know you remember this. When we did the High Rollers and the Windstar from 2010 to 2014, Dan and I commuted together, like we were carpooling, and I didn't know that was gonna. I was like, I don't know how much of him I can take, or vice versa. I'm like, is this gonna work out? Turns out, yes. Every week for 4 years, almost. Wednesday and Thursday mornings, we would go to the Windstar Casino, I think it's one of the largest casinos in the world, isn't it? It's right there over the border of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it started out as a bingo hall. Remember?
It did.
It was just the one little building, the tent, which we played in there a few times, if I remember. We go from the small room
to the big concert room. Yeah. There were benefits about both. But being up on that big concert stage made us feel like superstars, but it was like I had to have that wireless microphone to get out and mingle with the crowd. And then I'd be way at the back of the room and I wouldn't hear you guys, so I'd be a little bit off.
That'd be funny. We're playing. We hear the monitor says, "Hey, can someone send her a delay switch or something?" I'm
right, because I could only respond and sing along with what I heard. I didn't realize that until I heard the recordings.
I was going to text you, "Sing ahead of the beat."
Right. Note to Stephanie. Yeah. So, but there were some benefits of being in the bingo hall, because we were literally right in front of our crowd. We didn't have a stage. We were in the corner of the room, and 2,000 seniors would come in Wednesday and Thursday morning and parade through, get a free breakfast, get points on their card, gamble. Hang out. They would line dance.
Oh yeah.
And let me tell you, these seniors were ready for us. They were right there, and we had our fans, the ones that actually came every week. Maybe not every week, but they would come when they could. We did have a few that were there every week though. In fact, if they weren't there, we're like something okay with.
And, we knew a lot
the
of
Winter
great,
family.
Yeah, Winter family. We knew a lot of great people that came in there, and unfortunately, some of them have gone to be.
Yeah, they were already older, so that was the downside.
And the Winters, they passed, right, both of them.
They did.
Yeah,
yes, and the judges. Remember the judges?
The judges.
We'd have these guys, Indian Joe, and they would sit in a row, all three of them, and every time we'd sing a song or perform a piece of music, they would thumbs up, which most times was thumbs up, thankfully.
It was kind of cool because they almost like they were at their own table,
They had their own, it's like, are we doing okay over there? Because they came early on, so we were like, I hope we get to keep this gig because it really was very enriching and rewarding for all of us. We saw some really amazing things happen there. We would have people walking in on a walker, and they'd hear that music and they'd start shaking and they'd throw that walker down and shake it, and the crowd would go crazy. And we did some New Year's Eve gigs there for the bingo hall, and we have a lot of special memories from. And thankfully, I'm so glad we have some recordings, some videos, and Dan has a whole bunch of live recordings of us performing, and we listened to it and we almost cried. We were so blown away by that experience and how amazing everybody in that band was hand selected to be what they were based on our experience and our relationships with Absolute. And I think that they did a dang good job putting it together. I mean, gosh, we had Mario Cruz on saxophone. He played with Bruce Springsteen. We have you on drums, me as female lead. We had 4 singers, 4-part harmony. Amazing. I didn't ever want that.
It was a fun time. It really was. I think that lasted almost 4 years.
It did. But the relationships we made with these people every week, we were seeing them more than we saw some of our own family. So they became our extended family. And we had a lot of senior moments.
We had a great time. Remember, we also did some performances in the main casino.
Yes, we did at the Palladium.
The Palladium, that's right. Matter of fact, we have a clip.
Oh, let's see it. This is a good time for that, Paul.
So what I'm going to do, and again, I'm just going to go through some things here, but this was I think our last.
It was the last few weeks, August of 2014. And I remember I added costumes from my experience with Vince Vance. Costumes, comedy, skits. We had a lot of interaction, which added to the visual experience.
Exactly right.
All right.
Well, so here's a clip of we were in this was the Palladium.
Palladium Lounge, Windstar Casino, 2014.
All right. So, what do you think? So now we're back on, and that was Stephanie Nadolny, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay! There were all kinds of costumes and comedy. Remember? Yeah. I remember Dan and I would get together because he was the band leader, Dan Bradford. Bradford, the bass player, our fearless leader. Fear not, our fearless, our
whatever do you mean?
Bass player. Yeah, he's so calm.
I should make that an app, not an app, but
you should. That should be what rings when he calls you.
So I can hit it on different parts of the scale of the keyboard, like whatever do you mean?
Whatever do you mean? Whatever do you mean?
Whatever do you mean?
I like how when I ask people ask how he's doing, never better. And then he worked with a guy that would be like, "How you doing today? How you doing? You good?" Never better. He was like, never better. No, he's a great buffer for me because I'm kind of all over the place, which is great for being a performer, especially a live on stage performer, where you can channel that energy and give it all to your audience in the hopes that you get the validation of that you did a good job. You know, we can't help it. We are expressive people, and we get our feelings hurt. But you know, I don't know about you. We had to toughen it up, and put on our big boy panties. Big boy underwear. I'm sorry, I said panties. I feel like that's a bad word. It's not, but
wait, is that what
we
I
had to get
wear?
resilient. Boxers are brief, Paul Piper. No, it's okay. No, family show.
I'll be brief.
I'll be brief.
No.
So anyway, so yeah. Speaking of Dan Bradford, he was our fearless leader. He was amazing. I really appreciate now more than ever how he took that position and he took it seriously. He was not going to just toss us aside and be like, we're just going to show up because we're professionals. We've been doing this forever. He didn't take that part of it for granted. He made sure we had rehearsals every week. We didn't just, let's see, it was Mondays. I think we had our rehearsals on Mondays. Every once in a while, if it was a holiday, we'd get a break. But we learned between 4 and 6 songs a week. And then the cool thing about being such a long drive, we could listen to those songs on the way that we'd rehearse the night before, say, or the 2 nights before. And that way, when we got to the casino, we'd seen the sunrise. We'd gone through our music. And a lot of times we did pretty good on those first runs, especially as we went along. We just every time we'd come together and perform, we just got better at what we did. We gelled as a 6-piece band. I felt more comfortable in front of the crowd. I felt more comfortable about what we were doing, and everybody just became. We kind of became like a parody of ourselves. Like we became our own on stage. We were the sum of our parts, but individually we were characters that became. We were on a first name basis with pretty much everybody that would come every week. And I don't know about you, if you remember, if we didn't play Boot Scoot Boogie or something they could line dance to, we got dirty looks.
Yeah, I know, right? They were ornery, weren't they? Yeah, that's right.
We would stay longer, if anything.
The little time thing, right?
We never stopped early. That's another thing about Dan Bradford. He's getting lots of love right now. Hopefully he'll be able to see this and receive all this love. What's going on, Dan the man? Lieutenant Dan is in the.
Lieutenant Dan. Yeah, right.
Yes. So he was really good at. He'd been in the industry since his teens. We all started in our really in our teens when we come down to it, professionally speaking. And then as we went along, we were pretty much winging it. I mean, we had the material. We could throw things in. We took requests. We didn't play them, but we took them. No, but there's another one. Laugh track. Yeah, Dan's like, well, tell us what you want to play. Oh, and one of my favorite lines was, tell us what you don't want to play and we won't play it. I loved it. And we had a tip jar that had some love in it most weeks.
Here's a cool
we had some love coming through there.
I was working with a band once where we had, hold on. See, technical stuff. I've got to unmute my microphone.
He's wearing lots of hats, like not physically, but he's got his drums. He's got the sound. He's got the.
So that's why for future podcasts, I'll probably hire a controller guy.
That'd be awesome.
So for now, guys, episode 2. I'm sorry, we're working out the clinks here. And
the clinks and the quirks.
Or what's the words I'm trying to find? The quirks, yeah.
The quirks.
But episode 2, what can
the
I
glitches,
say?
I guess,
It'll
would
be fine. It's all
glitches.
Good. The glitches, that's right.
Well, and this is a good episode too for you because Paul and I, first of all, we haven't seen each other in a long time. We have worked together for many years ago. But when the pandemic hit, I know you lived on another side of the Metroplex. We're talking about DFW, by the way. DFW, you were kind of southeast, and I was kind of way more north and over there by the airport. So this is a fun day for us anyway because we got to reunite. We're good friends, and we're good friends in the industry. So this is I'm a good guinea pig for your second episode. I think
it's all going good so far. I think
we're winging it.
We're winging it. Hold on, my arms are tired.
I know. We flew over here.
I worked with a band where we'd have 2 tip jars. So one tip jar would be, tell us what you don't want us to play for $1 or $5.
That is such a genius idea.
This is what you don't want us to play and what you want us to play.
I bet I had a pretty good idea of what was you don't want to play.
I know, right?
As much as some people love some of those tunes, that we were constantly being bombarded with requests.
I have a few songs I would probably not care to play again. But
well, I had some friends that would come out, and when those particular songs were played, that's when they went to the restroom. Oh, time for a break. Old time rock and roll, Mustang Sally. Yeah. Freebird, I don't know. I feel bad for those artists that put out those songs because that was their big hit, and we're like, do we have to play it? No, it's all about the crowd, though. We were good about playing anything and everything. Gosh, we played stuff from the 30s all the way through easily the 90s.
Absolutely.
In fact, they wanted the Cupid Shuffle, and we morphed that into the Windstar Senior Shuffle, and I changed the words like Weird Al Yankovic and made it about the breakfast being free and get on the dance floor and dance with me. And remember, that was fun.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun. So we had a lot of good times with different bands and working together. But tell us about Moonglass. Remember the Moonglass band? Is that's the band that you started, right?
Yes. It's a spinoff. Spinoff. So once we worked together, we worked together in the project. We also subbed with different bands. I think I came back and worked with you again with the Motion Band, which you're still with right now. The Motion Band is amazing. In fact, I think I know pretty much most everybody in that band as well. And they played at my wedding back in 2013. Long time ago. But so in fact, I saw Claudia Melton of all people. Did you see that? I was in Corpus Christi. She's playing at the hotel. I wasn't staying there. I wish. The Omni. Phew.
So when did you see her? Was this
It was
recently?
3 weeks ago. Crazy.
Okay.
She was playing, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go hear the band. I had dinner there with my colleagues and the people who brought me down to Anime Corpus. And I went to the bar area where they were playing the after dinner music, and it was Claudia. I mean,
oh wow!
Of all people, she's been with a lot of the Absolute bands.
Yeah.
She's been there about 4 years now.
And she does a really cool thing in Corpus Christi. They do the annual jazz festival,
Mm-hmm.
and she does a lot. She's involved with that a lot.
Yes,
I think we did Motion Band did a gig there. Gosh, about a year or so ago, and she came and played keys.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
She recognized me before I recognized her because she had her glasses on and she had her hair different. And I was videotaping her and her brother.
Yeah.
And she's like, Stephanie? And I saw her doing that on my video, and I'm like, how does she know my name? This is weird. Right. So it was really good to see her again, and she's an amazing musician. And Dan was like, oh my gosh, she was making stuff up that wasn't really there in the original song.
We had some funny moments too in the Motion Band.
She's fun.
So Moonglass is a branch off of.
It is. It's of the High Rollers. Lately we haven't been working much due to the fact that I've been doing a lot of Comic-Cons. I'm on kind of a Comic-Con comic book tour this year, and pretty much last year too, and that could very well turn into next year. We'll see how things go, but my first love and my passion's always been the singing. It is using the voice, and both of the things that I do professionally involve the voice, but my singing and my music is my heart and soul, and that's what I geek and dweeb out about. My biggest influence was Donna Summer and disco music, ABBA. I love it. But I love music from all genres. But anyway, back to Moonglass. I started Moonglass shortly after the High Rollers promotion ended, probably a year later, and I had all of you guys practically on my speed dial. If I need a gig or need you guys to cover, it'll be Paul on drums, Dan on bass and vocals, Randy Vradenberger on guitar. Hi, Randy. So it's really, I'd like for it to be a 6-piece, but it's really more like a trio at this point in time. Every once in a while it's a duo, but I usually got to have Randy and Dan. That's why I may talk to you about percussion lessons, because I try to add some percussion, tambourine, shakers, but lessons might be in order because I really want to be better, because there's a bunch of stuff I could be doing to add to the fact that we're a trio. We don't have a drummer, but when the budget allows, I call Paul Piper and he plays drums for us.
And nothing pleased me more. It'd be a lot of fun. And I did a few Moonglass gigs with you guys.
If he's available, Paul is our first call. We've also got Mike Nicosia, who also plays keys and sings.
Awesome
Holy crap,
player.
He's amazing. Started out as a drummer, multi-talented. A lot of amazing, off-the-chart talent here in Dallas-Fort Worth, if I must say so myself.
That's right.
I love my musician family.
Mike Nicosia and I, we get into this thing called the Jerky Boys. And he does great impressions of, which, by the way, I hear you do impressions, so we might have you do some impressions.
Look out, guys.
We always trade voicemails. It's like, yeah, are you the super?
Yeah.
I fell down the stairs and my shoes fell off.
My shoes fell off.
And he does great impressions of all the Jerky Boy stuff.
Yes. I did many a gig and many a conversation to and from, about an hour all the way up to Windstar and an hour back from the Skyline Lounge.
Yeah.
He played drums on that gig with me, and we had some fun chats on the way to and from.
Yeah, he's funny.
He is a very, very multi-talented guy, and also an empath, and I just relate to that so well, being an empath. And
great guy. Yeah, and he's called me on a few gigs where I would go play drums and he's on piano.
Oh, isn't that crazy? I love it.
But unfortunately, there was a couple where I couldn't do it. I think there was some Eddie V's stuff.
Yes. But isn't that nice to be interchangeable? Like, Paul's our drummer, but Mike is too. But we could put Mike on drums or Mike on keys and sing. And then we've got ourselves a whole nother band.
Absolutely.
That's why when people contact me, even now, even if I'm not working regularly with my own band, I can put together a band. Let me tell you. That may be on my bucket list later in life. I may just have to be I don't know if I would have the agents are tough. I don't know if I could be a very good agent because I'm kind of pushover. It's hard for me to be business. That's where Dan comes in, Dan Bradford. So it's really nice to have that option though, because there's times when you aren't available that we can grab Mike and put him on drums, and he loves that too because he kind of started there too.
Yeah, he's definitely good.
That
on drums too. He does a lot of
Bobby
great
Bro,
jazz.
our old buddy
Bro.
Bobby. Talk about silly jokes.
Yeah,
if we had Bobby in here right now, we wouldn't get to anything. We'd be joking around the entire time.
He had a lot of great one-liners, and I'm not even going to repeat it, but they're
Gosh, what is it about you drummers?
I know
They're
right?
funny though, and I like that your shirt says "Relax." The drummers
by the
here.
way, right?
I have one that says "I'm with the band."
I like that.
With the guitar on it, I'm like, "Hey, I'm with the band."
I'm with the band, right?
No, I really am. Like, why do you think I have all these records?
I know, right?
There's a song that has that in it, and she said, "I'm with the band, okay? Like, I'm with the DJ. I'm with the band."
You should hear like all the drummer jokes. Was it? How's a drummer knock on a door? Or is it a trombone player? Maybe it's. A drummer.
I love the musician jokes. Here we go, guys.
So, wait, how do you tell if the drummer's stage is level?
What's that one? I don't know that. How do I not know that?
If he's drooling out of both sides of his mouth.
I love it. Or sleeping. I love the pictures I get when I would like take pictures of the band, and then every time I would come around, or the video, the little panorama, and then every time I come by, you would be like literally like you're sleeping, but he's still playing the whole time.
Hey, what was that one? Dan told me about this picture when he was with the Bill Tillman band. They had a setup in the gallery or the ballroom where there was a big pedestal and had all these mannequins like this. And one of the guys had a camera, video, go all the way down, and Dan was on the very end of the mannequin stage, and he was like this.
That's one thing about Dan and I. We have that in common. Before we ever met, we had the 8mm video cameras rolling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were on the Midland gig, but I think you were.
Yeah, I was.
That was hilarious.
Was this when y'all were? Well, I won't get into it.
No, we were. Yeah. I was like, the party. The party's over. The bar's closed. Like, we're done. But the party was not over, as we could see on video.
I remember a bar stool falling on the dance floor.
There's a bar stool. There was karaoke involved. Dan was trying to keep me from falling, and I grabbed a hold of him, and we were on the floor. Gravity, whatever you want to blame it on. We'll blame it on gravity. We'll just stop there.
We'll blame it on gravity.
There was way too much Chardonnay going on.
I know.
I say Chardonnay, but anyway, it was a long time ago. It was probably good, almost 2 decades, but we had a lot all on the road.
We had
that was George Bush's birthplace. So remember, late at night we went by there. It was all you could see. We had the video camera. Can you see it? And it's like it was totally dark.
Oh my gosh!
Give me the keys. Give me the keys.
Yeah,
give me the keys. You're not driving. Yeah, we have some really fun moments, and that was definitely back when we had VHS tapes, because he made a video from the 8mm and transferred it over to VHS tape. We still laugh about that gig. I'm telling you.
A lot of good times.
Marguerite's like, people came 2 hours to hear us and they're gone. We got some great stuff. So great memories.
A lot of good stuff. So
that Moonglass band is what we're talking about. So Paul and I are independent contractors. We're musicians. He's also an instructor. I did teach him piano and voice for a short time. Going to go back into that later as time allows. Which is great for me because I'm back in piano lessons with Dan. Dan used to sell pianos at a piano store. What was the name of that place?
Brook Mays.
Which
Which is where we did teach together.
And
actually,
now did you know him there first, or did you know him? You knew him from Bill Tillman.
I knew him a long time ago.
Project.
80s.
80s. I saw the pictures with the mullet haircuts, Mr. Man.
We all had mullets.
The mullets. The mullet fest. No.
Yeah, but good times, good stuff going on.
The pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, I love going back and looking at old pictures of. Dan used to have a big fro. Remember his big hair? He would like turn this way in the hair. He tells that joke all the time.
I know, right? The fro, the face made it before the fro.
Before the fro, yes. So
Yeah.
anyway, Paul and I are just, we're freelance musician type people, and I'm a voice actor for Dragon Ball Z. We haven't got much into that, but that's fine because a lot of my interviews entail that. And this is kind of the first one I've done in a very long time where I've talked about the music and the history and the rich history that we have here in DFW. And the interactions we've made, the relationships we've made with all of these amazing, talented musicians, singers. I mean, extraordinary. We've been in bands with full horn sections, which, by the way, is one of my favorites. Is when we have a horn section. Dan's a trumpet player first and foremost before he played bass. So we have a fascination with horns. In fact, we listen to. Gosh, you guys, we have YouTube now. Plenty to do during the pandemic. If you weren't cooking or learning a new skill,
right,
or doing a Zoom call without pants on, because none of us really had to wear anything, PJs. We listened to a lot of trumpet, like Doc Severinsen, and he's introduced me to the whole background with Chuck Rainey.
Chuck Rainey, yeah.
Chuck Rainey with Steely Dan. He's played on a jillion albums. I can sit back and just spend hours listening. There's not enough time of the day, really, because we are busy, and that's good.
Yeah, we're all,
but I mean,
all
just
busy, and we
just
try to
putting
make
on
everything
YouTube.
work. So
I mean, I don't even need cable. I mean, it's like, cable's nice. Don't get me wrong, but there's so
once
much.
balanced on one. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No, but all the good times are going on with the bands. But and like I said, my impression of Dan was kind of weird, but that's okay.
Oh, no, it's really good because it seems like he never seems to be phased. Like, you can come in with a camera in his face and he'll just be like, he'll just look at you and go, hello. Hello there.
Hello there.
Or he'll take us, like you said, hello.
That's a good one, yeah. So I hear you do other impressions, too.
I do. Not just people I know, but people you guys might know.
So give us a couple.
I'll run down a few. So it all started with, probably the Smurfs, like probably one of the first ones, aside from the Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and things like that, and the Tasmanian Devil. That one's easy, right? Then there was Papa Smurf, and she was the only female Smurf. What is up with that? Why were there's only one Smurf female? How did they reproduce? Okay, don't answer that. Don't answer that. But after that, I think most of my impressions were kids I went to school with. I definitely was imitating and trying desperately to imitate Donna Summer, my favorite singer of all time. I don't know if I can. Let's see, what would I do for her? Yeah. Let's dance. I could go all day with her. I was putting on concerts on the merry-go-round at age 5. I look back at that. Yeah, I was a different kiddo. Did some different things. Hey, I had an audience. The whole playground. And the teachers were like, look at her. What is she doing?
And it was a cool audience. You could see them every 2 seconds.
Exactly. And there was always something. There was a new surroundings. Every time we go round and round, and I've been around and around with that. They don't have merry-rounds anymore. It's very dangerous.
Oh, man.
They don't have slides anymore. Remember the old days? Well, back when we didn't wear seatbelts. No, don't listen to me. That's not good advice.
We didn't wear seatbelts.
Well, we didn't. It wasn't a law to wear a seatbelt back in the day. But we drank out of the freaking hose and played with sticks and rode bikes and didn't come home till the lights till it was dark and.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is really interesting because I've been doing a lot of these pop culture conventions, which contains a lot of nostalgia, which is why I think Dragon Ball Z is such a popular thing for a lot of the people that come out to these Comic-Cons, pop culture conventions, comic book stores, is they live and thrive on that nostalgia that's behind it, and I think that's why it's still so popular today. Not only that, and it's also Dragon Ball Super is still on the air now, but that's what I've been learning more and more is a lot of these people that run these conventions, that run these or have these comic book shops, they're kids themselves. They geek out and dweeb out about whether it's Marvel comics. I don't know about you. I had Archie comics and Richie Rich. That's what I kind of grew up with. And then, so I'm seeing a lot. And it's very, very cool for me because coming out of that pandemic when I couldn't perform live like you, and, I was able to generate an income by getting on the phone and contacting the Comic-Cons, or I would get requested by the fans, and I have a huge fan base that I didn't even know existed. I've got a Wikipedia page, an IMDb page. I've got a website now, which we'll talk about later. But so I think what it is too is I'm a misfit. Like I moved around a lot, so I was always the new girl. So I really relate to a lot with these misfit people. We all kind of are a misfit in our own way, but for that particular misfit, there's something about the Dragon Ball Z universe and anime in general. Anime is mainstream now. When I got cast as in Dragon Ball Z, I didn't know what anime was. I didn't even know that it existed, and so it was really cool. Well, except Speed Racer, and there's Naruto and Digimon and Pokemon, and well, now there's so many you can't even count. And thankfully, it's a worldwide franchise that's been successful overseas. In fact, I don't know if you remember, a few times I had to take off work with the band because I was going to Australia or the UK once and New Zealand, and I still wondered, why am I being where do I fit into all this? Well, it's the nostalgia. Kids grew up watching what they watched, whether they wanted to or not. That was what was on TV. Their big sister, their big brother. This is what we're watching. Well, they latched onto it. And some people actually would come running home from school, or they would get on the bus and run home to watch Dragon Ball Z on Toonami and Cartoon Network. So a lot of these fans were kids at the time, right? This is 99 or whenever, or late 90s, early 2000s. And now they're in their 30s. They're still wanting autographs, or they have these Funko Pop toys, which, by the way, I brought some of those. I wanted to.
Did you bring some?
I did. I brought.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I don't have a background or a banner, but we'll do that next time. But I have. So this is just to give you guys an idea. If you're not familiar with anime or with Funko Pops in general, these are Funko Pop toys, and this is Goku from
Dragon Ball.
and Gohan, don't hurt my dad and give me some more noodles. So that's Gohan, Super Saiyan Gohan, which is even lower than this Super Saiyan. So these are some of the items that fans will come from all over to have signed with our oil-based paint pens. We know what to use here, taking out stock in paint pens. Or they might have a poster or a DVD or a video game, or they have their own drawings. People bring their original artwork to me to sign, and it is something else.
Wow.
And then sometimes they give them to me. I'm like, no, it's yours. But no, so I have artwork all over my fridge from my fans all over, which, by the way, brought me out of my darkness, is the fans have really given me a sense of purpose. And we're all looking for whatever it is we're supposed to be here for. What's the meaning of life, right? What's the purpose? Well, this is what we are, and this is who we are, and this is what we're best at. And isn't it a blessing to wake up to know that you can pay your bills doing something you love and are so passionate about? That's the blessing right there, guys.
It all works out at the end, right? So
it all comes out in the
all
wash.
Come up with a plan. We go after that plan. We go after our dream. We go after our dream. We make it a plan. We make it a reality, and that's what I always tell my drum students as well as other things that I do. Matter of fact, I like to show some clips of your voice work.
Let's do it.
So we have
some Gohan, I believe. Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, so I want to make sure I have the right one. So this is, I'll just show, there's two clips, and I'll show either one first.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and get started with this one here. So
where it all began, from
that's
Dragon Ball
right.
Z, voice of Gohan.
Like a typical Saiyan, he's going for the bait. This victory is going to be mine!
Bulma, where are you? I should be able to sense your presence, but for some reason I can't. We're gonna have to make it out of here together.
Oh no! Help me!
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay.
And Stephanie Nadolny. Now, which character was that one? That was Gohan, right?
That's Gohan as a kid. Now, that's pretty cool that you selected that one, because I was cast as Gohan first before anything else.
Yeah.
And let me tell you a little bit about this audition. So I got the audition through my singing career. I had been working on and off with a Grammy Award-winning polka band called Brave Combo. They're amazing. They're out of Denton, Texas, which is kind of a small town north of Dallas. It's not so small anymore. 2 universities there now. So I met them through my Vince Vance and the Valiants escapades and started working with Carl Finch, the founder, on an album. And that album has still yet to be online. So I've got to get it on Spotify. I need some help. Maybe you can help me with that. But that's where I met Barry Watson, who was there and at the session, big Brave Combo fan. asked me if I did voiceovers. I'd done some stuff for Chuck E. Cheese. I did some voiceovers for Jemmy Toys, where they put the little voices in the machine, the little Halloween and Christmas toys, and singing songs in different various voices. And so I was able to make the audition, and thank God I was there for that, because that's opened a whole new pathway in my career as a voice actor. So that's where it all began, really. And so they cast me as Gohan, which I'm like, who's Gohan, right? So I auditioned for Bulma, Chi-Chi, Poir, and all the other female characters when I showed up for the audition, not knowing anything about it. So now that I go back, I know what I can fill in the blanks, because that's where it all started. That scene you saw was a voice of Gohan. He's kind of a raspy little boy. The company Funimation grew and took on many more properties, and therefore I was able to audition for Goku in Dragon Ball. Goku, he's Gohan's father as a boy, so we kind of went backwards. Then we finished up by going back to episode 1 of Dragon Ball Z and making it towards all the same cast. At the time, we were putting them out on VHS tape. Eventually, they were released on DVD and Blu-ray, and now I don't know how you guys are watching. I think that fans are watching it through streaming, and then there's also Crunchyroll, which owns Funimation now. So there's Crunchyroll, you can stream there. That's where you can find it if you guys want to watch it. There's obviously a lot of clips on YouTube that you can watch if it's something you want to get into. I know a lot of the fans grow up and then watch it again with their kids. Dragon Ball is much more appropriate for little kids because it's more humor and more comedy. From there, I was cast as East Kai. East Kai! Oh my, I'm the queen! Oh my. Baby
Very
Trunks.
awesome. Very cool.
Baby Trunks. So while I was there at my session, sometimes we would record other voices if there were background voices or smaller characters. I've never counted, but there was probably a good 40 or 50 characters that I did. But my main ones were Goku and Gohan.
Awesome. Well, I didn't watch a lot of it, but the stuff that I see is really awesome.
Well, there's a lot of interaction. There's a lot of because this show was so.
It's really good that what you do on there is really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And there's a lot of talent, like I said here, and they recast the show from the Ocean dub in Canada, and that's kind of what happened. And now I'm meeting the Canadian actors. Yeah. Some from Mexico City, they'll bring them in. Sometimes at these conventions, they'll bring some of the actors from Japan, which is a huge deal because they are the kings of anime, and they're the original voices. Like when you say OG, like they're the really true original voices, being that they made it first.
Right.
And they're the ones that Akira Toriyama, you guys know who he is if you know Dragon Ball Z. He's the creator, and he's amazing. I've never met him. I wish maybe someday. I'm not going to close the door on that possibility.
Right.
But it's been amazing because the Comic-Cons are so much fun. You get face-to-face with the fans. You sign in autographs. You're talking about the show. And it's just exciting. It's something cool. And to see these faces light up when they hear their favorite characters' voices.
That's
and some of
awesome.
them work out in the gym to all those powerful screams. And it's like, oh, yeah, let's do this. It's like, it's pretty cool. I'm getting some really interesting feedback.
Very good. Very cool. And again, as we wrap this up, I thought we could show another clip.
Okay.
So just refresh my memory. The one that we just did was the...
I think that was a Gohan clip, but then the second one is a different Gohan clip. It's the same character. I think he's a little older. I'm not sure what order.
Isn't it the one where
he's in the orange or in the blue?
You're coming up with the explosion like my father?
Oh, yeah.
That was the one we didn't see yet, right?
Right.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, just
Stephanie
check it out.
Nadolny.
I know you're out there, Father. You came back to save me, and I won't let you down! I know you're kind. You think you can waltz in and just take our planet. Like you forgot one thing. I'm my father's son!
All right, guys. That
Yay.
was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, some of my other voices before we run out of time, though. I got sidetracked. Imagine that. Something shiny. Did I leave the oven on?
Let's hear a couple of them.
So then I got into, as I got older, before I got cast, right, I got into Beavis and Butthead. And I can do some of those impressions. You ready?
Yeah.
Shut up, Beavis. I am the great Cornholio. Damn, we're smooth.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then
Bobby from King of the Hill. But Dad, all this time I thought it was an extra large. I'm actually a medium at the fat kid store. Marge Simpson. I don't think that's such a good idea, Homer.
And then there's South Park, which that's not so great for kids, but
Is it too much to ask? Did you peeps?
yeah.
Yeah, I can do one of the voices from Simpsons. I didn't mean to eat them.
That's hilarious.
I'm trying. I'm working on Homer.
You,
I'm not.
Yeah, you got all of them down.
It's just funny that I've never really been cast in a significant female role. It's just boys, little boys.
Well, see if let me see if I can do my Robert De Niro one. Hold on.
Oh, you can do your face, right?
Hold on. I see things.
Bada boom.
That was bad. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah. And the only other thing I really do is just joke around with my own voices, and that's always fun. So, if you're ever around me for any length of time, you'll get an earful of good stuff, bad stuff, whatever.
Cool.
Funny voices. I mean, I would imitate my babysitter and my bodyguard. That'd be Dan.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm still working on the Dan Bradford invitation. You got it down though. It's pretty good stuff.
Oh no. Well, so how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, I'm at www.stephanienadolny.com. There's my little octave for you. Anyway, so everything's there. My social media. I've got a Stephanie Nadolny voice actress. I've got a really funny TikTok I've had for a year, thanks to Aaron, my content creator. He's in Illinois. He's amazing. He's like the son I never had. That is at Steph Nadolny on TikTok. We've got Instagram, Stephanie Nadolny. Wow. Everything else can be found on my website. I do have stephaniefanmail@gmail.com if you have any questions. I am going to start doing some coaching and some workshops later this year. Not sure when that's going to take place, but I've been getting a lot of requests for that. So maybe I'll do some of that during the week.
Very cool. So there you have it. There you have it, guys. StephanieNadolny.com.
Yay.
And,
Thanks so much for having me.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us. And again, our next guest will be Matt Thompson from the band King Diamond. He'll be on our show, I think it was March 26th. And there's a lot of good things there. So stay tuned for that. And we'll just keep these things going. But for those that are technology busy bees, hey, thanks for being patient with us for the stuff that we went through.
I
right?
thought you did a great job, Paul. You're doing all that. He's handling everything over there. You know, he's
I'm
got
trying
buttons
to,
to push.
I'm trying to the host, the producer, whatever.
Right,
So.
blinking lights. He's got computer screens. He's doing the lighting, the sound. Amazing. See
I'm
what we
trying.
can do during, when you just sit down and learn. So editing, I'm going to try to start learning how to edit with auditions.
So yeah, absolutely. And so for anybody that doesn't know, I might be doing a radio show at KNON Radio, KNON Now, which is their streaming software.
Good for you.
Jackie Don Lowe, who does a really good show every Tuesday from 2 to 4 on KNON Now.
Okay.
So if you get a chance, download the app.
All right.
I'll be on there. We don't know yet when it's going to happen, but I'm supposed to talk to their producers.
And if you ever need any production, music production, you're writing a song, you need help getting a demo together, recording, Paul Piper's your guy.
Thank you.
I can do
Thank you.
backup vocals. If you need a vocalist, I can put those. I can do those on the spot. You like them, you don't like them, that's fine.
Absolutely.
We can record them here
Absolutely.
at PRP
Productions. That's right. We can do everything here. If you look in the background, I also do stuff for short film.
Right.
So any photographer, movie makers out there, let me
love
know. I'll be
that.
glad to add some music to it. I do my own production here.
Yeah, and if you need a band,
Yep.
if you need a band, an oldies band, country, R&B, soul, jazz, Motown, any kind of music, Paul and I know anybody and everybody around here.
We do.
We've worked with most of them, maybe not all, but we can and we can put together a band of the most amazing talent of the ones who are available, whether it's Moonglass or Motion or there's ways to get a hold of us. Let us know. We'll help you out.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. I need to go to the right camera. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Paul Piper, PRP Productions, podcast 2023, and stay tuned for the next episode. And from here on out, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye, y'all.
Goodbye.
Have a good day.
Yeah, call me, I'm here.